In this video, you will learn about tuples, which are used to store multiple values of different data types. Developers use tuples when they want to assign a variable with multiple values or return multiple values from a function. Tuples are useful for temporary groups of related values. They are not suited to the creation of complex data structures. In an earlier lesson, you learned that you can store multiple data types in an array using the any data type. For example, suppose I wanted to create an inventory for a restaurant using an array of food items. I can do this by creating an array that can hold 3 data types: a string, an integer, and a boolean. First, I type the keyword var and the variable name vegarray, followed by a colon, and then the keyword any inside square brackets, followed by the assignment operator. Next, inside another set of square brackets, I add the string value of caret, the integer value of 3, and the boolean value of true. Notice that these values are separated by a comma. While this will work, arrays are not always best suited, so another option is to use tuples. Like an array, a tuple is a list of items, more specifically a comma-separated list of items, enclosed in parentheses. I can create a tuple and assign it to a variable by typing the keyword var and the variable name vegetable, followed by the assignment operator, and then I create a set of open and close parentheses to place the tuple values. Next, inside the parenthesis, I add the string value caret, the integer value of 3, and the boolean value of true. Again, notice that these values are separated by a comma. Tuples are especially useful because they can be passed into things like functions to return multiple individual values. Okay, so let me delete the line of code with the array now. So, once you have declared your tuple, you might need to extract its individual values. This is known as decomposing a tuple, and there are a couple of ways to do this. To decompose a tuple, I can assign its elements to individual variables. To do this, I start by typing the keyword var, and then inside parentheses, the variables of veg-type, quantity, and in stock. Next, I use the assignment operator to assign these to the tuple. Now I can use the print function to print a value stored in my tuple, such as quantity. When I run the code, it builds the playground and returns a value of 3. Another way to do this is to create a tuple with named parameters. To demonstrate this, I declare another variable named veg and assign the equal operator to parentheses. Next, inside the parenthesis, I can define the name and value for each element using key value pairs. For example, veg-type, colon, and then caret. Then quantity, colon, and then 3. And finally, in stock, colon, and then true. So now when I add a print function, I can use a key to access and return the value. When I run this code, caret is retrieved from the tuple. Another way that you can access values in a tuple is with the help of indexes. Instead of supplying the tuple name, you can use the index number. For example, veg.0, which will print caret, and veg.1, which will print 3. It's important to note that, like an array, the index begins at 0 and you can't include any indexes outside of the bounds of the tuple. Okay, so now, what if I don't want to extract anything out of the tuple? I can use the same methods as before, but by using an underscore, I can tell Swift to ignore specific values. For example, I type let, and then a space, and then inside parentheses, I type the underscore symbol, comma, space, quantity, comma, space, and then another underscore symbol. This is then assigned to the tuple named vegetables. Now what happens here is that Swift ignores veg name and in stock, but keeps the value of quantity. In this video, you learned about tuples and how they are used to store multiple values of different data types. You learned how to create a tuple, some of the main methods developers use to decompose a tuple, and finally, how to modify its values. Tuples are useful for temporary groups of related values, and developers use them when their values, or related values, are likely to change or be dropped. You can think of them as a low-cost way of grouping values, rather than the full-on creation of a data structure like an array.